So welcome to Grace-Filled Yoga, and we're going to just have a vinyasa practice today. It's not going to be horribly hard, but it will be a little bit challenging so that we know we've had a little bit of a workout on this rainy day. But let's get started just in mountain pose. Start to anchor yourself into the mat, pressing down through the pinky toe sides of your foot, the big toe sides, the center of your heels. Now the temptation is to lock your knees here. Let them stay soft. And draw your belly button in. Imagine a string around your waist, drawing it in tightly. Lifting the pelvic floor. Closing down your eyes and letting your breath come in nice and evenly. Filling your thoracic cavity completely, lifting your heart and easing out through your nose. Bringing in all that your body and brain needs to function perfectly and releasing everything that doesn't serve you any longer. Let your awareness be on your physical body first. Noticing how you're feeling, any ache in your knees or your shoulders. How are your feet feeling on the ground? And start to notice the breath. Trace its path with your brain as it comes in through the nostrils, travels down your throat, fills your belly, expands your rib cage in all directions, lifts the heart, and exits back out through your sinuses, letting everything soften on its release. And start to do some shoulder rolls up, around, and back. Drawing your shoulders up by your ears, rounding them as far back as you can, letting your shoulder blades come together as they slide right down your spine. Then pause, back in mountain pose. And inhale your arms out and up. Stretch way up. And on your exhale, bring your arms out to a T. Bend your knees deeply. Hinge at the waist, fold forward. Find opposite elbows with your hands. Let your head dangle. Let your chest rest on your belly. Now nod your head yes and shake it no. Then just let yourself relax right here. On your next exhale, let both hands come flat to the mat. Look back between your knees. And inhale, straighten your legs. Come up on your fingertips. Draw your shoulder blades back. Exhale, fold again. And inhale, press through your feet. Bring your arms out to a T. Engage your core and then come all the way up with a flat back. Stretch way up. And exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, come up to a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up. And do several more of these sun salutations. Just move with your breath. Maybe close down your eyes. And challenge your balance just a little bit. And when you've had enough, just meet back in mountain pose. Keep breathing nice and deeply. Now widen your stance out. Then inhale your arms out and up, stretching up. And exhale, bring them down into I Dream of Jeannie hands. Let your shoulders come on down. And just rest right here. On your next inhale, turn as far to the right as you can. Look back behind your right shoulder. Then exhale, come forward. And inhale, turn as far to the left as you can, looking over your left shoulder. Then exhale back forward. And inhale to the right. And exhale forward to center. Then inhale to the left. And exhale center. And then last time, inhaling to the right. And exhale to center. And then inhale to the left. And exhale back to center, and then release back to mountain pose, bringing your feet back in line with your hip bones. Now inhale your arms out and up, stretch up and gaze up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, fold. Walk your hands out and step back to a plank. Just hold this for a few breaths, keeping your belly tight, spreading fingers wide, pressing down through the pads of your fingers. Then exhale, come down to your knees, and on your next exhale, ease your hips back to child's pose. Stretch your hips back just a little farther. Then inhale back up to tabletop. Take your right leg, take your right hand, move it over to the center of your mat. Now take your right leg, slide it underneath your left arm, take it off the mat, straighten it as much as you can. Bring your right hand back somewhat even with your shoulder, and then inhale your left arm up. Stretch up to look at it, and this is called a broken arrow. And exhale, look down, bring your raised hand down, bring your leg back in, and ease back to child's pose. Now inhale forward to tabletop. Bring your left hand over, bring your left leg under the right arm, straighten it out, and then inhale. your left arm, your other arm up, and look. Exhale, look down, bring your raised hand down. Come back to tabletop, then ease back to child's pose. Now inhale forward to tabletop. Tuck your toes, straighten your legs, and lift your hips, coming back to downward facing dog, or coming into your first downward facing dog, actually. Readjust your stance. Sink your hips down, then start to walk out your dog. And come to a still downward facing dog. Draw your belly in and up nice and tightly. Inhale, bend your knees and look forward. And exhale, walk your feet up to your hands, coming to a forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up, stretching up and gazing up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back to your plank. Hold this right here. Then exhale, come down to a kneeling plank and ease into child's pose. Now inhale back to tabletop. Bring your right hand over to center. Send your right leg off the mat and inhale your left arm up, broken arrow. Gaze up at your raised fingers. Let the top of your back foot just release to the mat. Exhale, look down, bring your raised hand down. Bring your leg back in, back to tabletop, and then exhale, back to child's pose. See if you can bring your hips a little further back towards your heels this time. Then inhale back to tabletops and switch sides. Left hand to center, left leg through, and right arm up. Gazing up at the right hand. And exhale, look down, bring your raised hand down, come back into tabletop. Tuck your toes, straighten your legs, and lift your hips, downward facing dog. Really stretch the heels down, stretch the hips up. Keep the belly nice and tight, pelvic floor lifted. And inhale, bend your knees and look forward, and exhale, step your feet to your hands. Coming back to your forward fold. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up, stretch up and gaze up. And exhale, swan dive down. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to your plank, and hold. And exhale, come to a kneeling plank and ease back to child's pose. And inhale forward to tabletop. Bring your right hand to center. Send your right leg off the mat underneath your left arm. And then inhale your left arm up, turning to look up at your raised arm. Exhale, look down, bring your raised hand down, bring your leg back on. And then exhale back into child's pose. Now inhale back to tabletop. Bring your left hand over, left leg off the mat, and inhale the right arm up, turning to look up at it. Then exhale, look down, bring your raised hand down, come back to tabletop. Tuck your toes, straighten your legs, and lift your hips back to downward facing dog. And breathe right here. Now bend your knees and look forward. And on your next exhale, bring your feet to your hands, coming to forward fold. Inhale to half lift, flatten out the back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up. Stretch way up, gaze up, and then exhale, bring your big toes together and sink to chair. Biceps by ears, and sink just a little lower. Keep your heart high. Utshirkatasana backward. Then inhale, rise up, stretching up, gazing up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank, and this time lower all the way down to the mat, either from your toes or your knees. Now inhale your head and shoulders up. Coming into half cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale through your plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Bring your feet together. Inhale your right leg up to a three-legged dog. Straighten it as much as you can. Point your toes toward the earth. Look back at your left knee. On your next exhale, bring the raised leg through, sit it on the mat, stay up on the toes of your back foot, and inhale your torso up, coming into a high crescent lunge. Keep breathing. Then exhale, bring your hands back to the mat. Lower your back knee, release the top of the foot, and inhale up into a kneeling warrior. On your next exhale, come back to the mat, come up on the toes of the back foot, and step back to downward facing dog. Now bring your feet together and inhale your left leg up to a three-legged dog. Straighten it as much as you can. Point the toes toward the floor. Look back at your knee. And on your next exhale, bring the raised leg through. Stay up on the toes of your back foot. And inhale your torso up into high crescent. We're really working on stretching the quadriceps and the hips. Then exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat. Slowly lower the back knee, and then inhale up to kneeling warrior. Then exhale, hands to the mat, come up on the toes of the back foot, and step back to downward facing dog. Now draw your feet together. Inhale, crouch down. And on your exhale, just spring and see where you land. Coming back to your forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up. Stretch up and gaze up. And exhale, sink back to chair. This time, hands at your heart. We're going to go into one-legged chair. So feel free to move wherever you need to. Start by keeping your heart high, shoulders down, finding a focal point or a drishti. Then when you're ready, take right ankle to left knee and squat down. Then inhale, rise up, stretch up and gaze up, and exhale, sink back to chair, hands at your heart. Reset, refocus, and when you're ready, switch sides. Then inhale, rise up, stretch up and gaze up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to your plank and lower all the way down. Inhale, head and shoulders up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your feet together. Inhale, right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, swing it through. Stay up on your back foot. Inhale, up, high crescent. Stay right here. Exhale, lower the back knee and bring your hands to your heart. Now, on your next inhale, twist toward the right, and on your exhale, go low, bringing thumbs to collarbone and looking back behind you. And exhale, look forward, and inhale, come back to your kneeling warrior with arms at goalpost. And exhale, hands to the mat. Come up on the toes of the back foot, and then step back to downward facing dog. Now bring your feet together and inhale the left leg up to three-legged dog. Exhale, bring it through. Stay up on the toes. And inhale up to high crescent. And exhale, slowly lower the bottom knee. Bring your hands to your heart. Take an inhale here, and on your exhale, twist toward the left and go low. Bringing thumbs to collarbone, looking back behind you. And exhale, look forward, and inhale, come back, releasing your arms to to goalpost, kneeling warrior. And exhale, hands to the mat. Come up on the toes and step back to downward facing dog. Now draw your feet together, crouch down, gaze forward, and then on your next exhale, leap. Coming back to forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up, stretching up and gazing up. And exhale, sink back to chair, hands at your heart, and we're going to twist here too. So move your shoulders down away from your ears, draw your shoulder blades back. Then on your next inhale, turn all the way to the right. And if you can go low, depending on your back, bring the elbow on across, squat down and bring your thumbs to your collarbone, looking backward. Then exhale, look down. Inhale, come back up to a central chair. Take a couple of breaths. And on your next inhale, turn toward the left. And then on your exhale, go low if your back allows. And exhale, look down. And inhale, rise up, arms out and up. Stretch up and gaze up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back to your plank. Lower all the way down. Inhale, head and shoulders up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog, and rest. Now inhale, draw your feet together, crouch down. And on your next exhale, spring forward. And back to forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up. Stretch up, gaze up, bring your palms together. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release back to mountain pose. Take a couple of breaths right here. Then on your next inhale, step back with your right leg. Make a lot of space between your legs. We're coming into triangle pose. Now, if your knees allow, keep both knees straight. If you've got pain in your front knee, go ahead and bend it. That's fine. Bring your arms out to a T and gaze out over your front fingers. Let your shoulder blades come together, shoulders ride down away from your ears. Now on your next inhale, glide your ribcage out over your front leg. When you can't go any farther, tilt down. Bring your buttocks to the center of the mat. Let your top shoulder come back behind just a bit and look up at your raised fingers into triangle pose. Let your hand fall wherever it does, either on your calf, your ankle, maybe to the floor. And exhale, look down. Inhale, rise up to a T. Then bend your front knee, coming into warrior two. On your next exhale, drop your back hand and inhale your front arm straight up, leaning backward, reversing your warrior. Stretching the front side of your body. And exhale back to warrior two. On your next exhale, bring your forearm down. Inhale, back arm up and around and lean in, gazing up underneath your raised arm. Keep your arms as straight as you can, fingers together into a side angle. Now, if you want, you can bring your front arm to the mat, open the top arm to the sky. If you want to take a bind, you can do that. Bring your front shoulder to the inside of the knee, bend your top arm back and around, bend your front arm up and under, interlock your fingers, and then open your chest up to the side, gaze up toward the ceiling. Then exhale, look down, and inhale, release, coming back up to your T. Now inhale your back arm up and around, front arm up and around. Turn your front foot forward, back foot forward, and come into a runner's lunge. Now inhale, start to send your hips back. Come up on the heel of your front leg and just point your nose at your knee. You'll be up on the toes of the back foot. If your hands can come flat on the mat, great. If not, just stay up on your fingertips. Then exhale, come forward and step your front foot back, coming back to downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look forward, and exhale, walk your feet to your hands, coming back to forward fold. Inhale to half lift, flatten the back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive out and up. Stretch up and gaze up. Then exhale, bring your hands together to your heart, and then release back to mountain pose. Now step back with your left leg. Set up for triangle on this side. The same thing applies. If your knee hurts, put a bend in it. If it doesn't, keep them both straight. Gaze out over your front fingers. Keep breathing. Let your shoulders ride down. Then on your next inhale, glide your rib cage out over. And when you can go no farther, tilt down. Drawing buttocks to center. Top shoulders slightly back, gazing up into triangle pose here. And exhale, look down. And inhale, rise back up to a T. Now put a bend in your front knee, coming to warrior two. Gazing out over the front fingers. And exhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale back to your warrior two. And on your next exhale, drop your forearm. Inhale, back arm up and around. Lean in, coming to side angle. Again, you can bring the front hand down. Open the top arm up and look up. Or you can move into your bind. And exhale, look forward, release. Coming back up to your T. Then inhale your back arm up and around, front arm up and around, and come into a runner's lunge. Let your hips sink, but don't come all the way to the floor. Now start to shift your hips back, come up on the heel of your front foot, point your nose towards your knee. If your palms come down to the mat, good, leave them there. If not, come up on your fingertips. Now on your next inhale, step back and come into downward facing dog. On your next inhale your right leg up into three-legged dog. Now send your weight forward, bring the knee up underneath your body, set it down on the floor between your hands. Stretch your back leg out. We're coming into a pigeon here. So you've got options. You can do front pigeon, or you can send your right hip all the way to the mat. Let your left leg make a Z behind you. And then inhale, come up, and exhale, fold in. We'll be here for quite some time, so let your breath carry you through this pose. Now, if you're in the side pigeon, let your shin become parallel to the front side of your mat. So it's kind of like a figure 7. Start to pull yourself up, push yourself up with your hands. Bring your front leg back behind you. Straighten it out. So you're on hands and knees. Now bend the knee and bring it out to the side. Make some big circles coming up and around the hip joint, going forward. Then pause at the top and make your circles going backward. And come back to tabletop. Tuck your toes, straighten your legs, and lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Now draw your feet together and inhale the left leg up to a three-legged dog. Exhale, lean your weight forward, bring that knee through, set it down on your mat. Either come into a side pigeon or a front pigeon, whichever your knee allows. Then inhale, raise up, and exhale, fold in. We'll be here for another 3 minutes. So just let your breath carry you right through this. Push yourself up carefully. Bring the forward knee back, straighten it out behind you even with your hip. Now bend your knee, bring it out to the side and make some big circles forward. Pause at the top and make big circles back. Then come back to tabletop, tuck your toes, straighten your legs, and come back to downward facing dog, lifting up your hips. Then exhale, come down on your forearms to quarter dog. Then bend your knees and look forward, coming into puppy. Then exhale, lower your knees down, release your feet, and go back into child's pose. And inhale back forward to tabletop. Come into a kneeling plank. Keep your belly tight, your body in one plane, and then lower all the way down. Now inhale, head and shoulders up. Keep coming back up to kneeling plank, and exhale into child's pose. Stay for 3 breaths, and then continue this moon salutation sequence. Moving with your breath. When you've had enough, inhale back forward to tabletop. Bring your knees together, bring your hips down, slide your legs around front, coming into seated. Let your hands just rest. Sit up nice and tall, engage your Mula Bandha, the low pelvic muscles, and the Uddiyana Bandha, the middle abs. And just let your chin be in neutral space. Let shoulders move away from ears, and breathe right here. On your next inhale, inhale your arms out and up. Stretch way up. Flex your feet, and then exhale, hinge forward. Let your hands fall wherever they do. Close down your eyes, and just breathe in this forward fold. And inhale, look up. And exhale, relax in a little more deeply. Maybe interlace your fingers and bring them around your feet. Inhale, look up. Release your feet. Let your hands slide up your legs. Bring the sole of the right foot to your left inner thigh. Flex your left foot. Then inhale your arms out and up. Stretch way up. And on your exhale, hinge forward. Turn your left ear towards your left knee and turn your torso so you can peek underneath your right arm. Look forward, release, let your hands slide up your legs, and then switch sides. Inhaling, arms out and up, stretching up. Exhaling, hinging forward, turning right ear toward right knee and peeking underneath the left arm. And exhale, look forward, release. Bring your feet flat on the mat. Sit up nice and tall, find your sitting bones. Now you can let your hands rest right behind your knees. Then inhale, lean back and bring your shins up parallel to the floor. Now release your arms open to the side. And now straighten your legs. Then cross your ankles, lower your feet. Use your hands to bring yourself up. Wiggle, wag your tail. And settle back down. Bring your arms out to the sides and then slowly lower all the way down. Letting your head come down last. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you and bring your feet back towards your glutes in the constructive rest. Finally, lengthen your cervical spine and your neck and then relax here. On your next inhale, pressing through triceps and feet, raise your torso up into a bridge. Maybe bringing your hands underneath you. Now extend your right leg straight up. Then bend your knee, bring it down. And exhale, slowly lower down. Draw both knees up. Give yourself a big hug and a little massage, rocking gently from side to side. Focusing on your low spine. Now come back to your starting point. Retuck your shoulders and inhale up for a second bridge. Maybe bringing hands together underneath you. And inhaling the left leg up. And exhale, bring it back down. And exhale, slowly lower. This time, bring your feet out to the long sides of your mat. Bring your arms out to a T. Windshield wipers your knees from side to side. Moving with your breath. And come back to center. Tuck your shoulders underneath again. Now bring your knees up, and then straighten your legs straight up, coming into a supported shoulder stand. Now, if you would prefer a full shoulder stand, feel free to do that. Bring your knees up, and then rock yourself up. Sending feet high, supporting your low back with your hands. Chin will be tucked into your chest. Now, if you're in shoulder stand, on your next exhale, start to lower your feet back behind you. If your toes come to the ground, release your hands down into plow pose. And on your next exhale, bend your knees, bringing them down by your ears. And straighten your legs back to plow. And then raise back up to shoulder stand, protecting your low back. Now bring both your legs parallel to your face. Release your hands flat on the mat. Let your arms be your brakes. Slowly lower down. And stretch your legs out. Bring your forearms underneath your rear. Point your toes. Lift up on your elbows. Look backward. Then lower the crown of your head down, keeping your heart lifted. You're being supported by your elbows. This is a supported fish. And lift your fishtail up. And exhale, slowly lower. Then exhale, release your head to the mat, bring your arms out from underneath. Let your big toes come together and your heels move apart. And let your legs fall apart, coming into Shavasana. Roll your eyeballs up in their sockets, unhinge your jaw, stick out your tongue. Sleeping lion. Let your tongue come back in your mouth. Roll your eyeballs all the way to the right. Purse your lips and send your pursed lips and your jaw to the right as well. Come back to neutral. Roll your eyeballs up. Send your pursed lips and your chin up toward the ceiling. Exhale back to neutral. And on your next exhale, send your eyeballs, pursed lips, and jaw to the left. Come back to neutral. Open and close your jaw, releasing any tension that might be left there. And just relax right into Shavasana. Let your mind be still. Let your breath be light. Letting any thoughts and emotions just float out with it. Letting your weight be totally supported by your mat. And I've got some more Fichtner. And this is, again, from Wishful Thinking. This is just part of what he wrote under the paragraph for peace. That shalom means fullness, means having everything you need to be wholly and happily yourself. For Jesus, peace seems to have meant not the absence of struggle, but the presence of love. Now slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Let your breathing deepen. Then stretch your arms out overhead for one last big stretch. Draw your knees up and roll over to whichever side you prefer. Let your head rest on your arm for a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, make your way up to cross-legged seated. your eyes stay closed down and just enjoy these last few moments. Then inhale your arms out and up, stretch way up and gaze up. Bring your palms together and draw them to your heart. Again, take a moment just to look within and be grateful for the presence of love in your life. And thank you so much for coming and sharing your practice through Zoom. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. See you next time.